Should you only cite recent papers in your research? So recent articles, recent publications. Should you only cite those recent ones in your research? People get to ask me that question. And I said, let me talk about it. The short answer is no. I see students stressing because they've been told your references must be from the last 5 years. Even me, I do advise my student, the more recent your references, the better. But the truth is, sometimes research doesn't work that way. Recent literature, recent publications, articles, they are important because it shows that you understand what's happening, the current conversation in that field, in that area of research. But some older papers are also very essential, especially if you're looking at maybe a foundational theory, a concept, a method, a framework, or a landmark argument that your research still relies on. For example, if you're using a theory or a framework that was developed 30 years ago, you can't simply ignore the original paper, the author that wrote that theory or came about that theory and framework. You wouldn't throw away someone like Barney's resource-based view paper if you're writing you're bringing a theory that has to do with resource-based simply because, oh, it's too old. Because Barney provides the theoretical foundation for that study. So you need that source. And you also need recent research to show how the theory has evolved and how it applies to your particular context of your research. A good literature review usually would do both. The foundational papers, where the theory, whether it was in 1980, and also you will look at recent papers where the idea is being discussed and developed today. So don't ask yourself, is this paper too old? Or you say, I think this paper is too old, I can't use it. What you should be asking, is this source still relevant and important to my argument? If it is, you can use it. Because good referencing isn't about chasing the newest papers. It's good to use, don't get this twisted though, but building the right evidence to have a strong academic argument. But like I said, the more recent, the better, because it shows that the recent happenings around, the recent conversation around that research. But if you're bringing in a theory that has been developed 30 years ago and you think is relevant to your study, please, by all means, bring that reference in, but then look for newer discussion around that particular framework or that particular theory. I hope I've been able to answer this question. So should you cite only recent papers? I hope I've been able to answer the question in this video. I remain your favorite academic buddy, and I'll see you in my next video.